We're in a time of transition. Technology has changed the landscape so much.
Well, I think change is always difficult, right? Anytime there's such a drastic, sweeping change like we've experienced in the music industry, everybody.
You make more with less. You basically have to truncate your business and scale your business to where it makes sense.
Today more than ever, you have to want to do music so bad that you suffer through all the agonizing business crap. And it is crap.
We live in a world consumed by technology. Gone are the days of big CD collections, and streaming platforms like Spotify and Pandora are king. But how are these changes in technology affecting working musicians today? Blues Rock Review traveled the country to find out.
I know musicians, songwriters in Nashville that have had 25, 30 million spins on Spotify or Pandora or wherever they think, and then got a check as a principal writer for the song, $750. Now you tell me how that pays the bills.
You know, we hear a lot of stories about some of the songwriters or whatever. You know, you get paid a fraction of a penny per stream, and sometimes it feels a little bit like, you know, all of the 1% and the 99% in the financial world of things, where 1%, let's say Drake, Rihanna, they're the 1% who get the billions of streams, and the 99% of everyone else.
You get a lot of streams, and so the money does add up, but it is not equivalent to 40 years ago.
It works great for you if you're Beyonce.
Well, you know, like everybody at first, it was weird, you know, and then everybody thought it kind of cut into money, but I've been really doing my research, especially I started a record label this year, and man, there are people listening to more music than ever before, and they're all listening. I mean, I have so much millions of plays on Spotify, and I haven't made millions of dollars. I mean, there's that part of it I understand.
From the business side of it, are they paying people the right way? Probably not.
They are now systematically telling people that creativity and artwork is free, devaluing it. Keep devaluing it. And then they go back retroactively, say, we paid you too much last year. Really? You paid us too much. You got an $8 billion company basically off the broken backs of the songwriters and the musicians and the people that play on the records and the producers and everything else like that. You got this $1 billion valuation. And you're sitting there in Silicon Valley going, wow, we just built the better mousetrap for everyone. And you're telling me that by paying the songwriters and musicians basically Shylock rates, you're better off borrowing the money from the Russians on Santa Monica Boulevard, okay? You're telling me that's better? And you're telling me you paid us too much? When the last time I checked, producing a record costs exactly the same as it did in 1990. The studio time costs exactly the same as it did in 1990. The musicians cost exactly as much as they did in 1990. And the physical product costs about as much as it did back in the day. So you tell me how that actually helps.
The business side of music has never really ever been right. You know, so it's always like, who's gonna do the next phase? So yes, those streaming platforms are great for us.
I mean, I guess it's better than, you know, Napster when you're outright stealing the music.
I read a thing recently about Spotify that most people only listen about 15 seconds to a song, and then they'll bust it. If they don't like it, their idea is the hook has to be in the first 15 seconds to get people reeled in, because you got to listen at least 30 seconds to get any kind of a royalty from the play. That's crazy, you know? I mean, how do you do that?
While the pay for music itself on streaming platforms is generally low, it is generating more exposure and opportunities for artists.
You still need them to sort of spread the word.
Good for the consumer. I'm not going to argue with that.
It's, you know, a platform that so many people across the board use that I don't think that access point is going to go away or change too drastically right now.
I don't think it's going anywhere. So I think you're either going to fight it or you're going to find a way to embrace it.
It's easier to gain more fans and have more people hear your music now than it ever was, because you have all of these streaming platforms. And at any given moment, somebody you could share a music, you could share a video, and then you could hear those people play live, which when you play live, you can never be lied to. And so that's what it leads to.
But there's this other part of it, and I'm trying to figure out how we tap into it. Because there are artists tapping into, there are people going to play huge shows in front of lots of people because they're becoming sensations on YouTube and Spotify.
And that is one of the few positive things about Spotify and Pandora and all those streaming sites is the fact that you are discovered through other people's networking. That's the one positive thing that comes from that. There's a lot of negatives as well.
I think the access, if you and I are out talking, you know, hey, you hear about this? No, I haven't heard that, because no one's heard of anyone now, right? This is the new thing. We're like, you know, they could have played a theater for, you know, 8,500 people tonight, but I'm not, you know, we may not have heard of it. Everything's so fragmented now. So I think Spotify is a great way to connect with something very quickly in the moment. The on-demand Netflix style of listening to music is great.
I think it's good. I use it a lot. I use it to discover, like, I think I've discovered so much music just from using Spotify, and I think that's a good thing as a musician, being able to like hear different sounds and get inspired by different musicians.
From personal experience, I know that I have gained a lot of new fans through Spotify. I know with my last record, it got placed on some playlists that had it in front of people that never would have heard it otherwise. So for that reason, you know, I personally have seen the benefit of Spotify.
I had a real issue with Spotify at first, and I've grown to dig it and like it because it's giving me that exposure. And as, you know, an artist just coming out, I feel like it's beneficial to me, but I can see why artists like Neil Young are not proponents of it.
I mean, there's no stores really to go, unless you go to a vintage vinyl store to find something. I think really the way that I do find stuff usually is through Instagram. If I find something that I really like, or an artist, or, you know, and then I'll research them more. Maybe I'll find something on YouTube, a live video. And from there, you know, then maybe I'll end up on Spotify, or maybe I'll just end up on YouTube. I don't know, but I think Spotify is a great platform, or whichever one you use to stream music, Apple Music or whatever it is.
I held out for a long time. You know, I was buying all the music I wanted on iTunes, and I also though was still listening to like a lot of radio, and I listened to a lot of NPR and stuff like that when I was in that phase, and just listening to my dad's CDs, you know. So as far as me branching out and getting out of that classic rock headspace, Spotify has definitely been a game changer for, you know, showing me new music and stuff that I never would have spent my money on because I didn't know if I wanted it yet. So it's a catch-22. It's like,
I know a lot of people who've benefited from Spotify, and like if you use it in a certain way and like figure out where your audience is and really try to like use it to your benefit, I think it's been good. I know that you probably like it's really hard to make money off of streaming, but if you can make money, or you can make a living another way by figuring out where your audience is.
But will this be a sustainable model moving forward?
Oh, well, you got 50 million spins. Maybe you get a clothes company to give you a free pair of jeans, and they'll sponsor your Instagram page. If you want to go down that road, that's fine. And I know people monetize that lifestyle, but that's the Kardashian-ification of music, and that to me doesn't work. It doesn't work long term because the bottom's going to fall out. People can't afford to record. You know, if they're gonna get, you know, a check for $88, you know, for would have been, if it was terrestrial radio, it'd be in the tens of thousands. You know what I mean? For the same amount of plays. I don't see how that works long term.
the cost of making this music and putting out the music video that it takes to get your song to go and do this and do X, Y, and Z. You know, when it starts balancing out, I'm not positive.
Today, social media is also crucial to building an audience.
Nobody wants to be on social media all those hours or collect emails at shows. But if you want to play the music and live your dream, it's sort of like you got to eat your vegetables.
I know that I tend to read through whatever I'm about to post so many times that it's sickening.
I'm learning. This is really out of my wheelhouse. So I'm not great at it, but I try really hard and I watch. Rein is a great artist on our label who has become quite famous. Now she's had some history. She was an actress. She was in movies, but she's been playing music a long time. And she's built her fan base online, on social media. It's totally different than what I've done over the past 20 years of just huffing it and driving around and flying all over the world and just playing in front of whoever will listen. You know, she's got a pretty big fan base, and it's all based around social media. So I'm trying to learn from her.
It's highly important for promoting your music, also because you get to promote it with your point of view, and you get to have people learn about who you are in the process. I don't think the music counts so much nowadays as like getting to know the artist, and I'm cool with that.
I think certain people benefit greatly from the social media platforms and like Instagram and people that are really comfortable, you know, and are wanting to play music and broadcast it out in a more, you know, playing to a computer or playing to a phone and stuff. And that, I think for those types of players, as far as like being found because of Instagram and stuff, I think that can open up a lot of doors.
Basically free. You know, you could sign up for it, and you start with the first follower, and you get as many as you can, and hopefully they're real followers that are just interested in what you're doing and you know, participate, and you could market yourself and get out there to the entire world without actually having to get out there and be in the entire world. So, you know, there's some people that have just made great careers being YouTube players, and all of a sudden, you know, they can go pack a place in Japan. You're like, well, how do they figure out about me? Well, they watch me on YouTube, you know what I mean? Or they watch me on Instagram for 1 minute. Now that's the positive side.
And maybe you've never even toured before and you've got, you know, 250,000 people following you because they like what you're doing. I think there's a lot more opportunity for creative people to reach people, you know, and I think that's just continued to escalate.
The positive side is the ability to get out there and network and market yourself to the entire globe, to like-minded individuals from Tokyo to Barcelona to Moscow to South Africa to Lincoln, Nebraska.
But not everyone is a fan of the social media culture.
I think it would be nice to experience life without it.
The negative is what that does is, as you grow in profile and as you surpass your 10,000 hours, as you surpass your 20,000 hours, all of a sudden Les Paul Lover 59 thinks they have as much to say and as loud a voice as you do, but you've put in 20,000 hours, and they just sit there and they participate as a viewer. And they try to start pile-ons, and they troll, and they go negative, and they attack people for what they A, don't have any concept of what's going on, B, don't have the wherewithal to even try it or the balls to do it in the first place. That to me is really, now everybody doesn't have to agree with you, and not everybody doesn't have to like it. Then just shut it off. There's no reason to go on somebody's, you know, page or their feed or whatever and try to tear down their hard work, whether you agree with it or not. And it's in the forum cultures, it's in the comment pages, and it's in just about every aspect of our society.
Hannah Wicklund wrote a song about the downsides of social media.
Shadow Boxes and Porcelain Faces. It's a song that is heavily inspired by this social media culture we're all stewing in right now. It's fairly complex and weird and hard to navigate. So that being said, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. What inspired me to write Shadow Boxes was because I found myself talking to someone I'd gone to high school with, and I could remember all of these people's names who I hadn't seen in like 4 or 5 years, and people that I didn't hang out with in school, but I still knew their first and last name and what was going on with them. And so I was just like, I took a step back. I was like, this isn't healthy. This isn't cool. I don't need to know this. I don't want to know this information, and it's taking up space. So for that reason, I think it would be really cool to go without it, but I don't know, might be too late.
Many artists have built large followings on Instagram and use the platform to help cultivate an audience through video clips such as guitar playing.
We all do. Everybody's on Instagram. You get sucked into the vortex.
It's a bit of stunt guitar, though. It's a bit of, and I'm as guilty of it as well. You get 1 minute to just rip anything that comes to mind. Well, that's cool because it's stunt guitar. It's like Evel Knievel jumping the fountain at Caesar's Palace.
It's really great. I'd even do it sometimes, you know, but you can't help it because you feel good about it and you kind of want to share it with the world.
I think it's an awesome format to test out what you're doing and to see if people are responding. And then, you know, but on the other hand, as an artist, you really have to check in and be like, okay, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for other people to like it?
It's a great way to grow your opportunity to reach more people.
If I think of a cool guitar lick or something, I can just post it, and it's kind of fun. It's just, as an artist, you want to get stuff out there. You don't want to hold it in. You want to move on to the next always, and so I think it's hugely important.
Only thing about that is people will steal it. You know, so somebody will steal it and make a song out of it themselves, but it is what it is, man. We all kind of steal and take and learn from each other.
I think for those types of players, as far as like being found because of Instagram and stuff, I think that can open up a lot of doors for those types of players. I'm personally not a fan of that style. I think just as someone who's played out and had really fed off of the energy of the crowd, I think that's my favorite part about playing music at this point.
One of the things is being able to play is the first step. Putting an act together, a set of tunes, whether you write them or not, and being able to connect to an audience. Those are the other 3 steps that are required for it to be an entire package. And because if you have 60,000 followers or 60 million followers, it doesn't matter, or 6,000 or 600 or 6. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if you have the enthusiasm and the ability to put together an act that drives in its own lane, has its own sound, and most importantly connects with the audience, then you can use social media to your own to a great advantage.
Technology has also changed the way music is recorded and who can make an album.
See, it's so different now because young people got YouTube, and now you could actually jam on people on Skype and all these different apps now. You can, so without actually getting together in a room. But you know, there's all these different stages. You know, I got friends, I got little, you know, cousins and stuff that graduated from Berkeley, and they're like, okay, cool, what's next? I'm like, well, now comes the hard part.
Everybody can put music out. Anybody can make a record. I mean, it is like you can make a record at home right now on your computer and go put it out. And I've been turned on to people that are getting like millions of plays that just like made some music on their computer, which I don't know if that's good, bad, or better or worse.
It's funny because Carlos Santana, I seen Carlos Santana once yell at this guy in a studio, and he was trying to edit the music while looking at a screen. He's like, hey, look at me. The music is not on the screen. The music is in your head. It's in your ears. Listen to the music and then you know how to edit. Don't look at the damn screen. See? Well, everybody now looks at the screen and they're looking at something that sort of makes them think the music is there. But it's in here, it's in your heart, it's in your mind, it's in your head.
It's just, to me, the hardest part is trying to keep things like being true to what I believe in and stay relevant in this modern world of the digital world, you know, trying to keep a foot in what I like to do and be accessible digitally. The older I get, it seems like the more difficult it is for me, but I'm trying.
And the changes have presented several other challenges.
You still have people in their 50s and 60s who buy CDs that won't download an MP3. You know, we had a kid that came to our show that said to me, he goes, "You're not selling vinyl, but you're selling CDs?" And you know, everybody downloads that. Nobody buys CDs anymore. So we have we're sort of waiting for everybody to catch up to be on the same playing field. So the difficult and challenging thing is we have to service all these different mediums and demographics that grew up with a different delivery system for their music.
I see young people buying vinyl records, and so we started to do vinyl records, and then we put a download code in there with the vinyl. So you get the digital, because people aren't listening. They're listening on their phone and their computer. So they have that, but they seem to want to take something home. And I do notice vinyl with young people.
I think the biggest challenge is probably getting people out live. I think it's easy and it can be really comfortable to stay at home and watch people on social media, but it's more of a challenge to buy the ticket and make that commitment to come out.
People are on their computer. Getting people to come out to the show tonight is not easy because they can stay home and watch concerts on YouTube or you're competing with a whole other world. So I think social media is extremely important and really being available and interactive. And you know, we're trying to find new things to do with the label because that's what people want. You know, I never did that before, but the past 6 months I would go on and do like a Facebook Live a couple times a week, and I would get done and look, and they'd have, you know, 200 people were on there live watching. Man, I didn't have 200 people at the show last Wednesday. You know, I had 125 or 150, and then it would get viewed another 5,000 times because I've got, you know, probably, I'm not saying this, you know, bragging, but I might have 80 or 90,000 people that follow me on Facebook. It's hard to get them to the shows, but if I go on live, so again, it's so important. I just don't know if I figured out how to translate that.
So how do musicians navigate today's music business?
I think it's more about playing less today and being available online and then doing these events.
I think that there's more opportunities for people to not have to play by the old system. And by the old system, I mean, you know, like you have to do certain things to be on the radio or do certain things to, and that led you to getting more, you know. I think now you can do things independently. And really generate a wonderful community through, let's say, Instagram or Facebook.
I would encourage people that are up and coming to research as much about the music business as possible. Read books, but getting email addresses of your fans, building your fan base one at a time. Start off in the smallest bar you can play and sell it out. And then get bigger and bigger, and then go a couple towns over, and next thing you know, you're a regional band, then you're a national band, then you're international.
When you go out on a tour, you have to budget a tour. You have to know how to budget a tour, you have to know how to stay on that budget, and you have to plan for, oh my God, something's going to cost more than I think, because it's always going to cost more. You're going to get hit for something. And independently, you know, you have to never let down, never stop the marketing. You have to advertise yourself. You have to go put yourself in front of folks, put yourself online, put yourself and advertise. And if you're able to sell some records, put the money back into the marketing. Don't just go, I just got a windfall and now I'm on Easy Street. Well, if you take some and make sure your light bill's paid, but you want to then double down and go, no, I'm going to try to market this a little to more people.
Connect. People are taking the time to like your material. They're taking the time to write comments. I'm really good at commenting back and replying back. And I've gotten to know so many awesome people.
my advice for musicians is to always just practice, you know, try to look at how the others influence, you know, how the original guys influence the next form of original guys, which inform, you know, and because when you look at guys like Jack White and the Black Keys and Derek Trucks and me and everybody else, the reason that we're all sort of here is because we all listen to the most original forms of music. And there's a sense of just rawness that you would get from that. And then you apply it to all of the stuff that's going on today, all of the chords and the scales and the prog rock and this and that and jam band and new blues and new rock, you know, but it's always going back to the roots of where you come from, you know. There's always this term of you always want to be rooted and grounded. And that means understanding your ancestors before and to always try to evolve.
I tell new artists all the time, your first record or your first attempt, it's not going to be the best thing you do. It shouldn't be. But don't let that keep you from doing it. Do it. Like, just make the music, go play the gigs, get out there, get in front of people. I guess get in front of the computer in some way. But if you don't get going, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. You can't wait for that, for the dream to come true. You need to go do the work. It's work.
People that are somewhere in this business have worked extremely hard, and nobody's been handed anything.
The people that are mostly successful showed up.
Nobody cares about your music career as much as you do. And if you don't care about it, how can you expect anyone else to?
So there you have it, how technology is changing the music business from the musicians themselves. What are your thoughts? Do you think streaming is a sustainable platform moving forward? What are your thoughts on the evolution of the music business? We'd love to get your comments down in the comments section below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and please hit the like button. The more people that hit the like button, it really helps with YouTube's algorithm, and we want to get this video out to as many people as possible. So please make sure to hit that like button. We appreciate your support. Hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.